Hello my crafty peeps, it's Cheyenne from PixieCrafter.com. If there are any current Stampin' Up! Products you'd like to see me demonstrate, go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section and I'll see what I can do. Welcome to another Christmas in July. I love it. We are featuring the Carols of Christmas bundle. This is a gorgeous bundle. Comes with the card front builder thinlits. They're wonderful. You save 10% whenever you can get something in a bundle. So what do we need? The Carols of Christmas stamp set. We're using Peace on Earth and the deer. We need these thinlits, the two trees, the deer, and the largest stitched shape framelit. We are using the postscript background stamp. We will of course need our Big Shot and magnetic platform. Ink colors will be Pacific Point, Crumb Cake, and Soft Suede. We will need our stamping trimmer to cut our cards. And let's see, we need some Very Vanilla Thick, some Tranquil Tide, Very Vanilla Regular, and Whisper White cardstock. We'll also be needing some embossing paste, our palette knife, Dazzling Diamonds, and our stamping sponge. For adhesive, we need liquid glue, snail, dimensionals, and our new mini dimensional. And now onto our card. Let's go ahead and get our Pacific Point out, and we're going to stamp our sentiment, keeping in mind we're going to be die cutting it with the largest stitched shape circle. So you can see I just kind of held it up just to make sure I was going to have enough edge around everything and it was going to cut out nicely. We're then going to take Soft Suede and we're going to stamp our little deer with it. This is the cutest little deer I've ever seen. I think in the future there's going to have to be like a red bow or something on this little deer at the end. You'll see what I mean. It is just so adorable. And then let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and stamp our background. So I've got that postscript stamp and I'm inking it up with Crumb Cake. Now, since this is so big, I leave the stamp on my work surface and then I'm going to bring the cardstock over to it and then I'm going to go ahead and cover it with a scrap piece just to make sure I'm not getting ink everywhere, and I'm going to rub around until I feel like I've got a good impression. This is giving kind of a vintagey feel anyway, so even if it is a little mucked up, it's going to be alright. And then I decide that I need a little something more. So I was going to ink the edges with the Crumb Cake and get it all distressed, but then I decided, you know what? No, let's use Pacific Point. So I've got my Stampin' Sponge with my Pacific Point, and I'm just going around the edges, just inking it, bringing it onto the front just a little bit, just to give a nice little wash of color. And this is such a wonderful effect. When in doubt, go ahead and ink the edges of your layers and you'll see it'll make such a difference. So now that we've got all of our stamping done, it is time to get out the Big Shot. So that's what you're going to see me do. I love my Big Shot. I do not in any way regret buying it. I use it all the time. Most of my tutorials have the Big Shot in it, and the only times I don't use it is when I'm trying to be budget friendly. So we're going to go ahead and get that. Because we are die cutting stamped shapes, I've got my magnetic platform. So I'm just going to go ahead and line up everything. So you have your magnetic platform, you have a clear cutting pad, and then you want that one to be as flat as possible, otherwise the magnet's not going to work. So I went ahead and also brought in my Tranquil Tide cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out the trees too. I'm just going to run this through and it'll be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now sometimes it might sound like your Big Shot's about to break, but trust me, it's fine. That's just the noises that it makes. So here we have all of our pieces. I really love the stitch shapes. I love that extra little stitching detail. I really feel like it gives a little something something to everything. And I was kind of like, oh, I kind of like that deer up there too, so maybe that's another future card. So now I've got all the pieces and I decide, you know what, the trees need something. So I grabbed just a little Stampin' Spot of the Craft white ink and I'm just kind of using that edge to give it a nice little distressed look. I bring you in close so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm not pushing down too hard. I just want to give it just a soft, snowy look. So you can use your full size if you want. You can use a Stampin' sponge, you know, whatever works best for you. You can skip this step if you want as well. And now that that is all done, it is getting to be the point where it's time to put everything together. So go ahead and fold up your very vanilla base. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And with the thick cardstock, you do want to make sure that you score it first, just so you get a nice little crease going. And then I went ahead and used my handy dandy snail adhesive to apply the postscript base layer. I put some regular size dimensionals on the back of Peace on Earth, and I popped it down there, and then I started to kind of play with where I wanted the trees and the deer, and I decided, you know what, there needs to be a little something going on down at the bottom. So I know that I'm going to want dimensionals at the bottom of the trees, and I'm going to put a little teeny tiny mini dimensional off screen onto the little deer. You can't see it, but that is what I'm doing, I swear. The deer is getting a little teeny tiny dimensional, and they're so cute. If you haven't tried the mini dimensionals, you're going to use them on so many things. So here I'm looking, I'm like, you know what? It needs something else. What do I want to do? If I had Dazzling Diamond glimmer paper, I'd go ahead and cut something out. But I don't have Dazzling Diamond glimmer paper. I have discontinued Blushing Bride. That's not going to work here. So what am I going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out my embossing paste, and I'm going to make my own little snowy scene. So I've got the paste, I've got the little palette knife. If you don't already have palette knives, Stampin' Up! Does have some wonderful palette knives to go with this. So I'm just going to kind of pull it out and smooth it along. Now, if you are recreating this card, I do kind of suggest you do this before you apply it to your card front. It would probably be a lot easier if you do it that way. But if you're like me, sometimes you can't do that. And I do have to say that some of that Pacific Point, it started to kind of bleed in, and I kind of liked it. But anyway, so I get my embossing paste on, I kind of clean it up as best I can, and then I take Dazzling Diamonds Stampin' Glitter. This stuff is gorgeous, perfect for all of your snowy scenes. And I'm just sprinkling that on when it's wet, getting a nice good coat on it. And you see I keep my glitter in those containers. I keep my embossing powder in those containers too. It makes it very handy. And then I'm just kind of lightly tapping with my palette knife. I just kind of want to embed it in just a little bit, but I don't want to cover up the top of that glitter. I want it to shimmer and shine. Look at that iridescent glow. Yay! The little things in life sometimes. It's okay. And then I went ahead. I did end up using my heat tool to kind of dry up that embossing paste a little bit. And then I went ahead. I put a little bit of liquid glue on the back of the dimensionals on everything, just because it was now going over embossing paste. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to go anywhere. So I went ahead and I staggered up those trees, and I love this. And then our little deer, or Bambi, is going to kind of go in the back, kind of peeking through, being like, hey, what's up? How you doing? So, all right, that is pretty much it for the card. I am so happy with how this turned out. It is gorgeous. I think I'm going to have to play around a lot more. I love the glimmer and the shimmer, and it is just so much yummy gorgeousness. All right, remember, you can get your hands on this bundle starting August 1st. And that is it for today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for coming back and supporting my channel. Feel free to leave any comments that you'd like. I love to get them and read them. You can also check the description bar for the full list of products that I used. You can head on over and visit my website, pixiecrafter.com, where you can sign up for my newsletter and birthday club. You can also join my team of Pixie Crafters and become an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. In July, we have our Christmas in July going on, so you get some free bonus stuff. Head on over to my website and reference the coordinating blog post, and you can find out more about that. You can also find out how to get a copy of your own catalog. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and that is it. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!